Microsoft Excel is a spreadsheet program that you can use to organize and manipulate information. With Excel, you can create worksheets that can perform complex calculations instantly. When the numbers in your worksheet change, Excel can recalculate the answers automatically. You also have complete control over the appearance of your worksheets. For example, you can control the size, style, and color of the font used in the worksheet. Excel also has the ability to create charts, tables, and graphs from data stored in its worksheets. It can also use data stored in other applications. For example, you could import data from an Access table into your worksheet, and then create a report with an accompanying chart to illustrate the data in Excel. You could then perform additional mathematical operations on the data in Excel if desired. For example, projecting fiscal scenarios is one way to take advantage of the tools available in Excel. Excel contains many tools that assist you in perfecting your worksheets. The AutoSum function is an excellent example of this ingenuity of design. It will automatically add numbers in columns and rows for you. Now you should take a moment to become familiar with the general operating environment of the Excel program. To become a fast and efficient Excel user, you will have to know where the tools are at in the program interface and what they are named. The picture shown on screen is of the user interface in Excel 2016 after creating a new blank workbook. A workbook is the default file type in Excel, much like a document is the default file type in Word. A workbook can contain multiple worksheets where the data is stored and manipulated in the columns and rows. In Excel, you are given one worksheet by default within your new blank workbook. The default name of the worksheet is Sheet 1 and is displayed on the Worksheet tab in the lower left corner of the window. By default, each workbook you create or open will display within a new Excel application window. If desired, you may open and then close different workbooks within a single Excel application window. If you close the workbook within an open Excel application window, you will then see some of the items within the Excel environment displayed on screen until you exit the Excel application window itself. The application window is the outer frame of the program that contains the workbooks you open or create. It consists of the title bar, the quick access toolbar, the ribbon, the formula bar, and the status bar. Any workbooks you create or open will appear within an application window. When you exit the Excel application or close a workbook within an Excel application window, Excel will prompt you to save any changes you have made to any open workbooks you were working on before closing. Workbooks appear inside of the application window. Each workbook contains an individual worksheet, the worksheet tabs, the worksheet scroll bars, and the previous sheet and next sheet buttons. Now you will examine the individual elements that comprise the Excel application window and the workbooks within it. In addition to knowing the names of these objects and where they are located on screen, you also need to know the function of each object within Excel. The title bar is the bar that runs across the top of the application window. The name of the workbook you are working on will be displayed in the center of this bar. At the right end of the title bar is a button group. There are 4 buttons in this button group. They are, from left to right, Ribbon Display Options, Minimize, Maximize or Restore Down, and Close. These buttons affect the display of the application window. Clicking the Ribbon Display Options button will show you options for changing the display of the ribbon in a drop-down menu. You can click on the choice of ribbon display that you prefer within this drop-down menu to set the appearance of the ribbon within Excel. Clicking the Minimize button will send the application window down to the Windows taskbar, where you can view it again later by clicking its entry within the Windows taskbar. Clicking the Maximize button will enlarge your application window to fill the entire display. It will also toggle the function of the same button to the Restore Down command. Clicking the Restore Down button will change the size of the window, allowing you to size and position it on screen as you wish using your mouse. When you click the Restore Down button, it will toggle back into the Maximize button. Clicking the Close button will simply close the Excel application window. If you have unsaved changes in the open workbook, you will be prompted to save those changes before the program closes. The primary tool that is available for you to use in Excel is the ribbon. This object allows you to perform all of the commands available in the program. The ribbon is divided into tabs. Within these tabs are different button groups of commands. The commands in each button group can be accessed either through the use of buttons, boxes, or menus that are available within the group. To access advanced options, you can click the dialog box launcher button that appears in the lower right corner of some button groups on the currently displayed or active tab within the ribbon to open a dialog box of all options that are available for that group. You should also notice that you can double-click on the active tab within the ribbon to both hide and show the contents of the ribbon. This can be a handy way to gain additional workspace while creating the contents of your workbook. You can simply click on the main tabs shown in the ribbon to switch the button groups displayed. The default tabs shown in the ribbon are File, Home, Insert, Page Layout, Formulas, Data, Review, View, and possibly add-ins if you have add-ins enabled in your version of Excel. You can also enable the Developer tab if using macros or code within a workbook. In addition to the primary tabs available for you to use in Excel, you will also see special contextual tabs appear within the ribbon when you have a particular type of object selected in your workbook. Contextual tabs appear, for example, when you have either a picture, table, diagram, drawing, or chart selected within your workbook. The button groups that appear on the contextual tabs are directly related to modifying the type of object you currently have selected. You can make the contextual tabs disappear by clicking away from the selected object within the workbook to deselect the object. The scroll bars run both vertically and horizontally in the bottom right corner of your workbook. You can click the arrows at the ends of the scroll bars to scroll through the workbook in that direction. You can also click and drag the little gray box inside of the scroll bars to quickly scroll through the content displayed in the workbook as well. The Quick Access toolbar is located above the ribbon by default. However, you can also place it below the ribbon if desired by clicking the Customize Quick Access Toolbar button at the right end of the toolbar and then selecting the Show Below the Ribbon command. You can reset it to its default location by clicking the same Customize Quick Access Toolbar button and then choosing the Show Above the Ribbon command. This is the only toolbar available for use in Excel. By default, you have buttons for quick access to the following commands: Save, Undo, and Redo or Repeat. However, you can easily add buttons to this toolbar for the functions that you use most. One way to add a button to the Quick Access toolbar is to right-click on any command button or function within the ribbon which you want to add, and then choose the Add to Quick Access Toolbar command. The function will then be added to the Quick Access toolbar. You can easily remove a button that you have added to the Quick Access toolbar by right-clicking on the button that you wish to remove, and then choosing the Remove from Quick Access toolbar command. Also note that you can more thoroughly customize the Quick Access toolbar by clicking the Customize Quick Access Toolbar button and then clicking the More Commands choice. This opens the Excel Options window. At the right side of the panel are two sets of command button listings. The listing at the far right side of the panel is the set of button commands that are currently shown in the Quick Access toolbar. The order in which the commands appear in this list from top to bottom is the order in which they will display from left to right within the Quick Access toolbar. To the left of this panel is a listing of commands that you can add to the Quick Access toolbar. You can select which functions are shown in this list by selecting a command grouping to display from the Choose Commands From drop-down that is located above the list. To add a command to the Quick Access toolbar from this list, click on the command that you wish to add from the choices available in the left list. Then click the Add button to move the selected command into the Quick Access toolbar list to the right. You can remove a command from the Quick Access toolbar list at the right by clicking it to select it first. Then just click the Remove button to remove it from the list. Also, you can change the order in which the buttons appear in the Quick Access toolbar by selecting a command in the list and then clicking either the up or down arrow buttons to the right of the list. When you have finished customizing the content of the Quick Access toolbar, click the OK button in the lower right corner of the Excel Options window to save and apply your changes. Because of the increased use of tablets, Excel contains a mode that allows for easier access to the buttons and commands within the ribbon and quick access toolbar. This mode is called Touch Mode. When you enter Touch Mode within Excel, the ribbon and quick access toolbar are enlarged and extra space is added around the buttons and commands within the ribbon and quick access toolbar so you can more easily access them on your touch-based tablet. To enable Touch Mode, click the small drop-down arrow at the right end of the quick access toolbar to display a listing of the most commonly used commands. Click or tap the Touch or Mouse Mode command in the drop-down menu to add that button to the quick access toolbar. You can then enable or disable Touch Mode in Excel by clicking or tapping the Touch or Mouse Mode button within the quick access toolbar. From the drop-down menu that then appears, you can select the mode you prefer to use, mouse or touch. When Touch Mode is enabled, the buttons within the ribbon and quick access toolbar will appear larger and with more space surrounding them on screen. You can select the mouse option to toggle Touch Mode off, restoring the default size of the buttons on screen. The formula bar is located underneath the ribbon. At its left end is the name box, which displays the address of the currently selected cell within your workbook. To the right of that is the Insert Function button, which looks like the function sign. The large bar to the right of that button is where you can see, edit, or create a formula to enter into the currently selected cell in the workbook. If you want to edit or change formulas after creating them, they will be displayed here for editing. Later on, this will become invaluable to you. For now, just remember that you will want to look into this bar to see the actual contents of cells that contain formulas, versus seeing the answers to the formulas that are displayed in the workbook cells. The Workbook window is the window in which you will perform almost all of your work. You enter data into the worksheets within the Workbook window. The names of the worksheets within a workbook are shown on tabs in the lower left corner of the workbook. A workbook stores information much like a database table does. A single worksheet in an Excel workbook is arranged as a grid that contains 16,384 columns and 1,048,576 rows. The first 26 columns are labeled A through Z. After that, they are labeled AA through AZ, then AAA through XFD. The rows are simply sequentially numbered from 1 through 1,048,576. The intersection of a column and a row within a worksheet is called a cell. Cells are where you enter information. They are referenced by their column and row location within the worksheet using an identification known as a cell address. For instance, the first cell in the upper left corner is called cell A1 because it is in column A at row 1. To the right of that cell is cell B1 because it is in column B, row 1. To refer to a specific cell in a worksheet, just combine the column letter with the row number. You can only enter data into the currently selected cell within a worksheet, which is also called the active cell. You can tell which cell is selected because it has a border appear around it and its cell address appears in the name box within the formula bar. The column and row headings for the column and row in which the active cell is located also appear highlighted a slightly darker gray. You can only have one active cell available for data entry at a time. Make sure you leave the cell after performing data entry by moving the cursor out of the cell using keystrokes or by clicking into a different cell to set the data in the cell and continue data entry in the workbook. Although you can scroll throughout the entire worksheet, you can only enter data into the currently selected cell. So even if you scrolled the view of the worksheet 100 columns to the right, if your active cell is A1, that's where your data entry will occur when you type. You can also select or reference multiple cells to manipulate the information contained inside of them. A selection of multiple cells or a reference to multiple cells is called a cell range. For instance, you can select the cells from A1 through A10 and then add their values together. We will look at selecting, referencing, and manipulating cell ranges later in this tutorial. At the bottom of the application window is the status bar. This tool provides you with information about your workbook. One of the most important status indicators in Excel is the Cell Mode status indicator that is shown at the far left end of the status bar. There are three main cell modes that you will see: Ready, Edit, or Enter. If the word Ready appears, Excel is ready to do just about anything. This is the cell mode you want to be in before you begin a task. The next mode is Edit. If you are in Edit mode, you currently have a cell that you are editing, but you have not yet moved from the cell in order to set its data entry. Many commands are unavailable to you when you are in Edit mode. The last mode is Enter. This is much like the Edit mode, but it is shown when you are entering new information into a blank cell. Once again, most commands are unavailable to you until you finish data entry and return to Ready mode. In addition to the cell mode status indicator, you will find other indicators and tools, such as the workbook's view shortcuts and the zoom slider shown at the right end of the status bar. You can choose which statuses to show or hide in the status bar. To see which statuses are currently shown or hidden in the status bar, right-click your mouse anywhere in the status bar to view the Customize Status Bar panel. This panel shows a listing of the available tools and statuses you can show or hide in the status bar. Any listed objects that appear with a check to the left of their names are already shown in the status bar. Objects that do not have a check to the left of their names in this list are not shown in the status bar. You can click the name of any object in this list to toggle it on or off. The Workbook View buttons are a group of 3 buttons located towards the lower right corner of the application in the status bar. You can click these buttons to change the working view of your workbook. By default, Excel will open in Normal View, which is the view most commonly used for standard workbook creation. Unless otherwise specified by the lesson, you can assume that the workbook view referenced in the lessons of this tutorial will refer to the normal view. However, you can switch between the different views of a workbook as needed. Each has its own use within the program. The different document views are Normal, Page Layout View, and Page Break Preview. The Page Layout View allows you to add header and footer information and see how your workbook will appear when printed. The Page Break Preview is used to easily set page breaks for workbooks prior to printing them. You can also select the View tab within the ribbon and then click the command buttons within the Workbook Views button group to switch between the workbook views. This is just an alternative way of switching between the workbook views. Use whichever method you prefer. In the lower right corner of the application window in the status bar, you can see the zoom slider. You use this slider to change the magnification level of the workbook. This does not modify the workbook in any way. It only changes your perception of how close or far away the workbook appears on screen. You can easily change the magnification level by using the zoom slider. You can click and drag the slider left towards the minus symbol to shrink the magnification level. The magnification level appears as a percentage next to the zoom slider. You can also click and drag the slider to the right or towards the plus sign to increase the magnification level. You can also change the magnification using the settings in the Zoom dialog box. To access this dialog box, click the Zoom magnification level shown in the status bar, or click the View tab in the ribbon and then click the Zoom button in the Zoom button group. Note the other common magnification levels shown in the Zoom button group in the ribbon that you can click to change the magnification. In the Zoom dialog box, select the desired zoom magnification level by choosing an option from the magnification section. Then click the OK button to apply the magnification level to the workbook view. When you select text within a cell and hold your mouse pointer over it, you will see a small dimmed-out toolbar appear next to the selection. This is the Mini Toolbar. You can roll your mouse pointer over the faded-out toolbar to make it appear solid. You can then select from the many buttons that appear in the Mini Toolbar to apply quick formatting to the selection. A keyboard shortcut allows you to press a combination of keyboard characters to execute a command function instead of clicking a button in the ribbon or the quick access toolbar. While you may never really use them, many users find it tiresome to always have to reach for their mouse to execute a command function. These users may favor the use of keyboard shortcuts instead, as it allows them to perform many command functions while keeping their hands on the keyboard. Keyboard shortcuts typically involve holding down either the Control or Alt key on your keyboard and then entering another keystroke or set of keystrokes. You then release the Control or Alt key. You can see any available Control key keyboard shortcuts listed in the small pop-up windows that appear when you hold your mouse pointer over any command function shown in the ribbon. Not every command function has a corresponding Control key keyboard shortcut. In these cases, you can use the Alt key to enable the key badge system in Excel. You can then use the key badge system to enter a sequence of keystrokes. Let's look at how you can use the new key badge system in Excel. First, press the Alt key on your keyboard to display a set of key badges next to the various objects in the ribbon and the Quick Access toolbar. Then press the key on your keyboard that corresponds to the command function you want to show. Continue pressing the corresponding key badges until you press the key badge for the command function that you want to execute. If you happen upon a drop-down menu when entering key badges, or your key badge work opens up a dialog box, don't worry. You can execute a command shown in a dialog box or in a drop-down by looking to see if the command function you want to execute has an underlined letter in its name. If it does, press the key on your keyboard that corresponds to the underlined letter. This is the same thing as pressing a corresponding keyboard key when you see a key badge.